President Biden used his first State of the Union address to condemn Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine and warn Putin that he has no idea what the U.S. and its allies will do next. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. I have to say, it just seems exhausting to be a Republican politician these days. Every minor inconvenience is somehow a secret plot to cancel you or indoctrinate you into becoming an Antifa, Marxist, wokenista, and I don't know what that is, but I think it's bad. Everything is a perceived slight, and you have to be constantly outraged all the time. Like yesterday, for example, Senator Marco Rubio skipped President Biden's first State of the Union address, where the president laid out his plans for, among other things, deterring a brutal dictator who's invading a sovereign country and dealing with a global pandemic. And Rubio said it was because he didn't want to get tested for COVID.
Not every Republican is here. Marco Rubio, the Republican senator from Florida, said he wouldn't be attending because he didn't have time to get tested.
Senator Rubio told another media outlet he wasn't taking a COVID-19 test because he didn't have time for it.
I'm sorry, what? You don't have time to get your nose swabbed for 10 seconds? Now, there's two possibilities here. One, Marco Rubio is a bozo pandering to a base that somehow thinks a 10-second nose swab is an act of tyranny. Or two, he's been taking the wrong test. In which case, I empathize with this poor man. I don't have time to go inside that big metal tube and get spooked by all the banging. Oh, Marco, you've been taking an MRI. Oh, man! I mean, maybe why these people, maybe it's the same reason they're anti-mask, too. You know, Marco's probably been wearing it over his eyes, banging his nuts into stuff 10, 20 times a day, and here I am giving him a hard time. I'm sorry, bro, I'm sorry. Look, it sucks for normal people who have to wait in long lines for COVID tests, but Rubio's a senator. It would literally take him 30 seconds. I can tell you because I still get tested 3 times a week, even though I've had 3 shots and got COVID. I'm basically super immune now. The other day, just to test my immune system, I got on the F train, took my mask off, and did this. And I didn't get COVID. I did catch mange, which isn't great, but, you know, I still proved my point. Again, this was a joint address to Congress, and yeah, I'm a little lightheaded from how I breathed. It's touch and go now whether or not I'll make it through the look. And again, this was a joint address to Congress where the president praised brave Ukrainians for resisting Russian aggression and laid out his plan to deter Putin, among many other things, and Rubio just skipped it because he didn't want to get his nose swabbed. I mean, sorry, man, but you don't get to say no thanks when you have an important work meeting. Certainly the rest of us don't have that option. I can't just skip our show's annual Respect in the Workplace meeting because I don't want to get a COVID test. Even our cue card guy, Wally, couldn't skip it. Although he definitely put in the bare minimum effort by zooming into the meeting, and this is 100% real, while lying on his bed. Again, this is a real screenshot from a Respect in the Workplace meeting. We'll even put an arrow in so you can see where he is. And if that shot looks familiar, that's because he showed up at the State of the Union last night.
I think I have a better idea to fight inflation. Lower your costs, not your wages.
So Rubio, now you're doing it with the cards, Wally.
Yeah. Hey, Seth, you know, from what I remember, I'm pretty sure the Respect in the Workplace seminar also said you shouldn't tease employees on national TV.
Put the cards up, Wally!
Right.
So Rubio couldn't be bothered to show up to a State of the Union address. Meanwhile, some of the Republicans who did show up were disruptive assholes like Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene. First, they pulled a dumb stunt where they turned their back on Biden's cabinet as they entered the chamber. Although I genuinely can't tell if they're turning their backs or if they are just wasted and don't know which way to look. I mean, they have the vibe and posture of 2 college sophomores at a party looking for a friend who left hours ago. Jessica! Jessica! And was that supposed to be a powerful statement? You don't look like you're turning your backs. You look like you're waiting for your Uber after getting kicked out of an Applebee's on St. Patrick's Day for drinking one too many tipsy leprechauns. By the way, that is a real thing you can order at Applebee's. It's the drink most offensive to Irish people since they stopped serving their IRA-themed sparkling wine, the Troubles Bubbles. Anyway. Green and Boebert weren't done there. They later heckled Biden during a part of his speech on immigration by yelling, "Build the wall" at him. They were drowned out by applause, but there's a photo of them yelling during the speech where they look like two overbearing Little League moms berating their kids from the stands. Come on, Tyler, you gotta catch that! This is T-ball, Tyler! Now that picture might make you angry, but if I've learned anything, any one thing from watching Real Housewives, it's that two white ladies this erratic will eventually turn on one another. Oh, sure, they agree now, but you wait. You just wait. Did you take my Stop the Steal mask? I borrowed it. Well, stop the borrow! All these people want is attention, and they're willing to do anything to get it, including yelling at the president during an address to the nation. And look, I don't care that much about decorum. I do care about not being annoying, and these two are some of the most annoying people I've ever seen on the national stage. I mean, they're like a nonstop national hangnail. They remind me of the kids in high school who thought they should be starring in the School Musical, even though they couldn't sing for so they'd be in the background wearing a tree costume and would just creep upstage during the final number. And then, as for the Democrats, there was Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who preemptively started applauding a line in Biden's speech before Biden actually got to it, producing this awkward moment.
Unlike the $2 trillion tax cut passed in the previous administration that benefited the top 1% of Americans, the American Rescue Plan helped working people and left no one behind.
He looks like the overeager dad at the high school play who tries to start an ovation for his two weird nieces. How about them? They didn't know all the words, but they sure have moxie. No, oh, okay. Now, it won't surprise you to hear that Biden began his speech with a strong denunciation of Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine. He applauded the bravery and courage of Ukrainians defending their country and announced plans to go after the wealth of Russian oligarchs with an ad-lib line at the end teasing that there's potentially more to come.
Tonight, I say to the Russian oligarchs and the corrupt leaders who bilked billions of dollars off this violent regime, no more. The United States, I mean it. The United States Department of Justice is assembling a dedicated task force to go after the crimes of the Russian oligarchs. We're joining with European allies to find and seize their yachts, their luxury apartments, their private jets. We're coming for your ill-begotten gains. And tonight, I'm announcing that we will join our allies in closing off American airspace to all Russian flights, further isolating Russia and adding additional squeeze on their economy. He has no idea what's coming.
Whoa, that's quite the tease. Putin has no idea what's coming. Looks like someone prepped for his speech by watching Taken again. Also, I'll be impressed if that's true because villains like Putin always like to think they know what's coming. I'm betting no one's ever seen Putin make a shocked expression in his life. I don't even know what that would look like. Can you imagine throwing a surprise party for him? Surprise! No, not surprise. I read your text for last month. Also, I do not like clapping for birthdays, Chuck. Better, Chuck. Better. And true to Biden's word, today the Justice Department followed through and announced a new task force to go after Russian elites called KleptoCapture to track down wealth of sanctioned Russian oligarchs aimed at ensuring the U.S. can seize the money of sanctioned Russian elite tied to Putin. Now, the name KleptoCapture is a reference to capturing the wealth of Russian kleptocrats, so we're going after oligarchs, plutocrats, and kleptocrats. I'm sorry, but why do we have so many different words for rich criminal? I feel like I have to walk around with a damn thesaurus all day just to understand the news. Why can't we just call it the Taking Money from Suspiciously Wealthy Beet Farmers Task Force? KleptoCapture sounds like the name of a lesser-known Bond movie from the 80s starring Roger Moore. Bad news, James. After you defeated Moonraker, they came up with an even more powerful weapon. It's called KleptoCapture. What does it do? Hold on. Let me flip through my thesaurus. But there's certainly a lot of elite Russian wealth to go after. In addition to the yachts and condos and private jets, the U.S. and its allies are also going after a special type of passport that apparently only rich oligarchs get to use.
There will be a transatlantic international task force to target wealthy Russians who have luxury yachts, luxury apartments, and use golden passports. Those are the things that essentially allow you to become a citizen of another country to either hide your wealth or escape Russia.
There's such a thing as a golden passport? I guess that would explain why every time I go to JFK, there's a special line of security filled with Russian oligarchs complaining about how slow the TSA is. Shoes and belts off, but I have golden passport. Buddy, I don't care if you got the golden goose. Shoes and belts off and no liquids, but golden passport allow me 4 ounces. Willy Wonka over here got a golden passport. Willy Wonkovich over here. What, are you taking the glass elevator? You got 1 ticket? Yeah, I'm reading a lot of Roald Dahl at home. Now, Biden is anticipating that some of these sanctions and the instability caused by the conflict may contribute to inflation and rising gas prices, among other things. So he took a moment to speak directly to the American people and tried to reassure them that everything would be fine.
To all Americans, I'll be honest with you, as I always promised I would be. A Russian dictator invading a foreign country has cost around the world. And I'm taking robust action to make sure the pain of our sanctions is targeted at the Russian economy and that we use every tool at our disposal to protect American businesses and consumers. These steps will help blunt gas prices here at home, but I know news about what's happening can seem alarming to all Americans. But I want you to know we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay.
You know things aren't exactly going great when the president adopts the tone of a husband who just told his wife he blew all their money at the racetrack. We're gonna be okay, baby. I got a plan. My buddy Chuck and I are gonna start a business selling fake Nikes in Times Square. Chuck, tell her how good the plan is. Chuck. Oh, Chuck, come on. Don't do me like this, man. Last night, Biden applauded the bravery and courage of the Ukrainian people and laid out a strong response to Russia that will punish them financially while being careful to avoid any direct military conflict that could drastically escalate the situation, which no one wants. And yet some Republicans couldn't even be bothered to show up, while others were just disruptive jerks. Every time I remember these insane people are elected officials, I have to look in the mirror and tell myself,
we're going to be okay.
This has been A Closer Look. God's Love We Deliver cooks and brings over 2 million meals a year to men, women, and children living with HIV/AIDS, cancer, and other serious illnesses, and they need your help now more than ever. If you're watching this online, you can hit the donate button. Stay safe, get vaccinated. We love you.